faithfully delivering value by interpreting great books from around the world. Hi there, this is Sally with the Book Talk. Today's book is What Are Bullies Thinking When They Bully Others? The subtitle is School Bullying from a Developmental Psychology Perspective. Bullying is a common social issue lurking in hidden places, schools, workplaces, even homes, but often goes unnoticed. Have you ever been through or seen bullying? How did you handle it? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Today's topic, school bullying, is something that terrifies parents. To cut down on bullying, we can't just shield victims or harshly punish bullies. We need a full analysis of the behavior. Why does bullying occur, and how do we stop it at the root? The book's author is Graham Ramsden, a renowned British educational psychologist with 18 years in counseling. Before that, he spent 11 years as a primary school teacher, giving him nearly 3 decades of experience with kids and parents. And he examines bullies, victims, parents, peers, and teachers psychologically, helping us grasp bullying comprehensively. He especially dives into bullies' minds, aiming to understand why they bully. Why do people bully, and how can we systematically address it? Now, I'll break down the book into 3 sections. First part, what is bullying? Second part, why bullies pick on others? Third part, how to cut down on school bullying. Let's start with what bullying means to spot and stop it effectively. We must first define what constitutes bullying. Some believe that being yelled at is bullying. Others say it's only bullying if you're hit. And, in fact, research hasn't pinned down a clear bullying definition. Dan Olweus, a Norwegian professor who pioneered bullying research in the 1970s, defined it as when a student is repeatedly and persistently exposed to negative actions by others, leading to bullying. Olweus says negative actions happen when someone deliberately hurts or tries to hurt others, inflicting pain or discomfort. This definition helps people understand school bullying to some extent. It's when someone intentionally hurts others, causing pain and discomfort. But it doesn't set clear boundaries, and what causes pain or discomfort varies greatly between individuals. Is there bullying behavior that everyone would recognize? Through research with teens and conversations with children, the author identified 6 typical bullying methods. First, verbal bullying. Insults, rumors, mockery, like immediately shaming someone's appearance or taunting them as a loser. Second, nonverbal bullying. This refers to nonverbal cues, tone, eye contact, expressions, posture. For example, consistently greeting someone with contempt that makes them feel small counts as bullying. Third, physical bullying, most recognizable, involves directly harming bodies, limiting mobility, causing dual psychological and physical pain. Fourth, psychological bullying. Its core purpose is weakening someone's will. Typical tactics: taking or hiding victims' important items like backpacks to create helplessness. Fifth, social bullying. Bullies often coerce others into isolating victims while targeting them. For self-preservation, bystanders do nothing, leaving victims stranded. This type is especially damaging, since fitting in and acceptance are fundamental needs for healthy development. Constant bullying and isolation destroy these needs and a child's self-confidence. Sixth, cyberbullying. Emerging with technology, this new form lets bullies easily target others via phones, computers, and social media. No specific victim required. For instance, posting polls on school forums to vote for the ugliest classmate. Now that we've covered typical bullying behaviors, let's explore part 2. Why do people choose to bully others? The author identifies 2 main reasons. The first relates to innate human needs. British social psychologists Joe Griffin and Ivan Terrell proposed the innate needs of humans in the 1990s. The theory states that humans have 9 types of needs, focusing on emotional and growth aspects, including security, autonomy, control, status, personal space, attention, belonging, attachment, competence, achievement, meaning, and purpose. If these needs aren't properly met, some people may use bullying to fill these voids. For example, when a child lacks autonomy over their life, From small things like eating and dressing to big decisions like choosing a major, they may bully others to indirectly satisfy their desire for control. Now, um, similarly, when a child doesn't get proper attention from parents or teachers, they might become a bully to gain notoriety, making everyone talk about them. Among these 9 basic needs, the most important is a sense of security. According to the author's analysis, a lack of security is one of the most common reasons bullies choose to bully others. After birth, every child develops a sense of security through interactions with parents, ensuring they have enough food, good care, a stable environment, and so on. However, if parents fail to provide basic material and emotional care, are inconsistent, break promises, or even use violence, children raised in such environments develop a strong sense of crisis. They fear the external environment and lack confidence to protect themselves. Some children resort to bullying to gain security by hurting others, creating a vicious cycle. When bullying incidents occur at school, everyone loses trust in the school environment, feeling it's unsafe. Bullies then become more convinced they must act proactively to protect themselves, preferring to bully others first rather than be bullied. The second reason for bullying behavior is mental health issues. A study on school bullying found that most bullies have serious mental health problems. For instance, they have weak self-control, lack empathy, struggle with social interactions, and often had adverse childhood experiences such as parental divorce, domestic violence, abuse, verbal insults, and these experiences alter their perception of things. When minor conflicts or trivial issues happen around them, their brains get triggered, perceiving non-existent attacks and threats, leading to defensive reactions where they try everything to fight back and protect themselves. For example, a child constantly belittled and abused at home. When at school, if another kid says, "How could you even get this problem wrong?" to him, he'll instinctively interpret it as intentional mockery, fearing other classmates will look down on him because of it. So he chooses violence, teaching that kid a lesson to watch their words next time. Now that we understand why bullies bully, let's focus on part 3, reducing school bullying. Schools need formal anti-bullying policies. These documents should outline response procedures, bullying types, and clear protocols. Policies must be publicly shared, enabling open discussions among students and teachers, with students involved in creating and updating them for continuous improvement. When bullying occurs, schools should conduct thorough investigations involving all staff and parents, following policies to ensure everyone knows the school's stance and procedures, building an anti-bullying culture that deters incidents long-term. So what exactly should be done? The author proposes a systemic solution starting with the entire school structure. Schools can support 3 groups: staff, parents, and students. First, staff knowledge systems with 3 elements: supporting staff in handling incidents, building parent connections, and enhancing student communication, plus empowering staff with rights, investigating incidents thoroughly, reporting to leadership, discussing solutions, and following up. Staff support is crucial because not every educator feels confident intervening in bullying. Some see it as beyond their duties. Others hesitate when bullies have influential connections. Schools should arrange training for all staff to actively learn strategies and procedures for handling bullying incidents. Later, we'll discuss specific approaches, but staff should especially monitor common bullying locations and times. Data shows most student bullying occurs inside school buildings, yet when interviewed, teachers believed playgrounds were the most frequent bullying spots. This shows teachers' understanding of bullying remains insufficient, including awareness of timing. Many students report bullying during lineup outside classrooms, after entering, or while waiting for teachers. Bullying doesn't need much time, just minutes without supervision. To detect blind spots, the author suggests teachers role play as bullies, walk around identifying vulnerable times or locations and mark them. Schools can staff these areas, ideally installing cameras to deter bullying. Parent support systems should cover both bullies and victims. Securing parental cooperation is essential for successful resolution. Schools must explain how they'll help both parties. Victim support focuses on school-home coordination. How to collaborate? Provide psychological counseling and ongoing protection for victimized children. Examples: therapy sessions, daily well-being checks, frequent parent pickups, and teacher communication. Parents must stay emotionally stable, model resilience, and avoid transferring negativity. While victim parents often demand harsh public punishment, schools must help them understand bullies also need help. Punishment alone won't solve root causes. Bullying stems from bullies' insecurities. Only addressing these psychological roots brings real solutions. We'll detail bully assistance shortly. If parents feel unheard, their disappointment affects children and hinders resolution. For parents of bullies, we must understand their child's experiences and why they bully to address root causes and prevent recurrence. As mentioned earlier, some bullies come from troubled homes, using bullying to cope with psychological issues. For instance, if parents frequently argue and show little affection, they must recognize their own issues and change. Bully parents may avoid discussions, over-apologize, or blame the school, requiring teachers to persistently communicate, manage emotions, and convey school policies. At school, your child must treat peers kindly, no violence. As parents, lead by example, maintain harmony at home, model proper behavior, and resolve conflicts nonviolently. Explain we aim to help bullies, not punish them. Involve parents through workshops and case discussions. Once staff and parents align on bullying understanding, we can build the crucial student knowledge system. Here's students means both victims and bullies. First, support victims emotionally and socially. This is common practice in most schools, but victims may be fragile after prolonged bullying, requiring skilled support. Communicate sensitively with victims. Assure them it's not their fault. Encourage openness and emphasize collective support. For example, schedule informal chats between victims and trusted teachers. Ask about their studies and daily life, whether they need help from teachers or classmates, and what the school can do to make them feel safe. During conversations, observe their mental state, physical condition, appearance, and clothing for anything unusual that might need further investigation. Never eschew blunt commands.
We shouldn't demand these children change by telling them, do this, not that.
Because they're victims, not wrongdoers. For example, forcing victims to move seats away from bullies isn't ideal unless the child requests it. Next is supporting bullies. Here, support means helping them correct their behavior, not condoning bullying. As discussed earlier, punishing bullies alone is ineffective. It doesn't solve root problems because it fails to address their inner needs, like security or attention. So we must encourage genuine self-change, making amends from the heart. This requires patient guidance from teachers and parents through the transition. Generally, it involves 6 stages. First is the pre-contemplation stage, where kids think, I won't listen or change.
But adults can't let them drift. Instead, naturally instill proper values and explain benefits.
If a child craves attention, parents must consistently show care through actions and words. Admit past neglect. We were busy and ignored your feelings. We'll change. You don't need to bully others. Show equal care. Discuss hobbies. Support them. Notice negative emotions. Accept flaws. Also emphasize teachers' willingness to help. Second is the contemplation stage. Here, with adult guidance, bullies start wondering, does not bullying actually benefit me? So we must fulfill earlier promises and live by shared values to build trust. Peer sharing often works wonders. So schools could invite older students, former bullies who've reformed, to share their experiences and feelings. What benefits did they notice after changing? Next is stage 3, preparation, where kids ask, how do I do this? Parents and teachers must then invest time in planning actionable steps, like teaching kids to ignore usual targets and resist impulsive urges. When feeling overwhelmed, vent through healthier channels, such as running, exercising, or talking to teachers, preventing relapse. One key element Managing others' expectations. Sometimes peers doubt bullies can change, watching for failure. We must align everyone to supportively expect bullies to become better versions of themselves. For example, teachers can hold class meetings to collaboratively monitor and assist bullies, making every student a stakeholder. If bullies show significant improvement, celebrate as a class. Teachers give small rewards. After prep comes stage 4 action. Here, kids commit to change and stop bullying. With plans from stage 3, we push them to act, creating supportive conditions and giving loud praise when they succeed. Sobering, realistic. Short-term change is hardest. Short-term change is easier than lasting commitment. Psychologists suggest distraction, doing other things instead of obsessing over not bullying. Integrating bullies into caring communities helps. Assign them class responsibilities, organizing sports sign-ups, core rotations, or hygiene checks. This approach helps them feel valued in the group and gain attention. Plant. When kids refrain from bullying, we must consistently praise them, remind them of the benefits, and strengthen their self-control. Finally, the ultimate stage. Given the difficulty of long-term change and individual unreliability, some bullies may relapse. So at this stage, teachers and parents must stay positive and guide the child back to the 4th action stage. Follow the earlier plan to curb bullying behavior. Beyond those directly involved, teachers, parents, students, there's another group crucial for curbing bullying culture. Witnesses, mainly bystander classmates. And to genuinely change bullies, we must ensure their environment supports transformation. Thus, schools need witness support systems too. Practical steps like regular anti-bullying events promoting kindness and peace. Teachers should guide students to intervene nonviolently, support victims, and seek teacher help promptly. After interventions, schools must build data systems, quantitative and qualitative, to fully grasp bullying trends. For example, monthly victim counts, types of bullying, and frequencies. Gender ratios. Qualitative data include student surveys, like what's the worst bullying you've seen? Or if bullied, what help would you want? Common data methods include surveys from students, teachers, even community members. Other forms, interviews, conversations, regular observations. With a database, maintain and evaluate data to inform school policies. This outlines the author's systemic approach. Building bully-free schools is a long-term effort. Through this book, we learn bullies are victims in many ways too. Hopefully, we can use this knowledge to support victims while helping bullies solve problems at their roots. With everyone's efforts, we can minimize school bullying incidents. Well, what are bullies thinking when they bully others? That concludes our interpretation of this book. Reading notes are below the audio. See you next time.